Hello, I'm Mike. I'm an ex Hells Angel member. I was a member and started the Fresno charter, and I transferred to Santa Barbara to start them up, and then I transferred back to Fresno, and that's where I left in 2011. I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Mike Lynch.
You know, like we have worked things out like at racetracks, right? We have, like you say, this guy may be a rival, their club may be a rival. But let's say we have 5 different clubs participating, and in them 5 clubs, there might be 15 bikes. And these guys are all there for competition. So we have tried to just leave that hands off. You know, if you're competing and this and that, and you guys are at the same place doing the same thing, and usually the racers have already they've already taken care of things themselves. They know who's who. They've seen them 1,000 times. They've competed 1,000 times. They're all good. And if something's going on in the world that is serious, we try to leave it out of that kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the road and out and about, I mean, until you actually, you look over and you say, that looks like different people, and then you start saying, okay, I expect the worst out of everybody. And then, like you say, clubs are the one thing, but then law enforcement, law enforcement created Laughlin. Guarantee it.
Yeah, they ran to the other side and they said, "Hey, your buddy
made a deal with the devil, and the devil was cool as fuck. You guys can't be that stupid." Well, okay, if you are, okay. And that was at the times in them, the tensions was pretty high then, real high. And then when you start having loss of life and this, things don't go away immediately. They just don't. At some point in time, somebody may bump into somebody and talk. I used to do a lot of that, the Confederation of Clubs thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know other people are going to be there. And then like the powers, my bosses would call ahead and say, "Hey, look, we got X amount of guys going out there, blah, 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 blah. I'll have this guy contact you, and we have knowledge and they have knowledge that we're all going to be there." Now, at that particular time, I've had good conversations with people, and then I've had 0 conversations with people. If it doesn't look right, fuck it. It is what it is. I'm in my backyard, you're in your front yard. That's cool. That's where we're going to leave it. Now, some people within other clubs, they're very good at communication. And I believe there has to be some. I mean, like I said, I ain't kissing on nobody. I'm not blah, blah, blah. But if I could speak to somebody and get something taken care of by a few words and know what the problem is, and if I'm able to take care of it, I will. If I have to go above me and say, "Hey, look, this is what is being asked," and I relay them, and they make the power, they're the powers that be, they make the decision, and I'll abide by it. It gets kind of crazy. You get in them confederations in the clubs. I don't think there's anybody in there that likes each other. But by the time that I was there 5 days, by the time I got done and I left, I had spoken to numerous members of the Outlaws, and it all is related to this politics club, nothing personal and nothing club wise, but these laws and the evidence and these gang enhancements, the things that they were starting to throw at people. Well, in California, they hit us first, but then they just started moving to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the whole charter getting arrested. They're all getting charged with gang enhancements or gang affiliation or for the furtherance of a criminal organization. And that's what happens. And that's why I try to say, I don't want to be no peacemaker and all that, but the particular situation I'm in, I'd like to be able to do something besides the usual.
Sit back and be part of it. Like,
well, I mean, okay, I raised my hand.
Rather be part of the solution than part of the problem.
Right? Either which one doesn't, personally, if I can speak for a minute or two and stop something, okay. But if I can't, then we all know, get the bag of peas out.
Yeah.
Band-Aids and bags of peas, you'll be set.
Now, Laughlin was a huge incident, right? And they tried to take the Mongols' patches. And then the Hells Angels ended up putting up money to help them keep their patch.
Sometime, okay, Laughlin was a smoldering situation for years. So right away, there was no talking. Okay. And then when you change hierarchy, you get rid of Doc Cavazos and Little Davies there. Okay. So now you got somebody, that is well-versed, knows what time of day it is, and doesn't have the wool pulled over his eyes too fucking easy. And he's not in for the Hollywood shit and getting on videos like Doc was. He wants to get on national TV and say, fuck Emmy, and I'm going like, oh my God. You know what I mean? And I saw it with fuck them. And I went, oh, well, now you got some fun buddies.
Yeah, that's not a good,
no, it's not. And then it may have, he could do this shit in front of all his guys and all that, admire your balls and I question your brains. You fucking idiot. You just opened up a can of worms, throughout San Diego to fucking Shasta. You know how many how many prisons there are? I do.
And then he ends up cooperating in the end. Like, you can't make this up.
There again, way up here in the air. But when it came down to it, because we've got guys in our club that have done 30 years for something they never even did. But because they were accused of it, they let it ride. And in them days, law enforcement and judges and prosecutions, they had to have your neck swinging. There was no other. We can't let this guy beat this shit.
No.
So the guys were getting prison term. I mean, in California, the guys that had 3 or 4 joints were getting 2-3 years in the pen. Next thing you know, San Quentin's got fucking 25 guys. They got their own fucking deal. They got a charter in the pen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if you ask them, it's all over little dope stuff or, a fight or what have you, So I don't know.
Now, did you ever go to prison as a member?
No. I went to a state facility.
Well, it's pretty.
Well, I went to, when I end up with all the money paid and the lawyers paid, I went to a county facility for 7 months. And
what's it like for a member when you go to jail? What's it like?
Well, 99% of everybody's curious. And then again, you got 2 or 3 that think that maybe, and they find out that that's not correct, but you can't do it to everybody. Do you? You got to know, fuck you. I got guys, I getting pulled out of myself fucking every other day. Well, we heard this, we heard that. They start asking about the guys in the other club. I go, look, I'm not in the other club. I don't know. And if they're doing something, what I say is good for them. Whatever they're doing. Hey, if they're buying property over here, well, what do you know about it? I said, I don't know shit. Why? Because I'm not privy to that. And I really, really don't care. I'm worried about me and mine, not what they're doing creeping around up here. I don't care. My deal is if we come into contact, what happens from that point on?
So when you were in lockup, did you come across any rival members? And what's the protocol for when you're in jail together?
I didn't. I know other members that have, and especially the guys that did extended prison time. Early guys that are in their early 70s, they did extended, 8, 9, 10 years. Well, they ran into other members, and the same as the racetrack, unless something's very, very wrong, you make up your mind what you want to do and what you feel comfortable with. Guys meet in prison, and they know some people will talk and some people won't. Well, then there it is there. But there are occasions where people have talked. And if you ask me, as long as they weren't talking about our personal business, it was whatever they were going through at the time, prison conditions. This guy's over here, cops doing this cop doing that. You know what I mean? They're talking about their environment. They're not talking about what we're wearing on our bats, because obviously, that's not the situation. Even though we're members, everybody's in there. So if you get along, and if you don't, you don't. What are you supposed to do? You can't make arrangements. Well, I don't really want to be, you can't do that. You go where like I said, race wise, yes. But as far as club wise, I think it's a decent atmosphere.
You go where they put you, basically, right?
Well, yeah, but if they see by your paperwork that it tends to not get along with others, well, don't tempt him. Just, put him over here. We already know it says right here, he is going to go off on him. So, let it go.
Now, when they put you in, was it they put that you were in the club on your paperwork?